So I think the colleagues are coming slowly to join. Well, I would like to welcome you again to the second session in this conference. First, I express my utmost gratitude and appreciation to the Emirates Center for Research and Strategic Studies under the leadership of His Excellency Dr. Jamal Sanad al-Suwaidi for arranging such a wonderful conference for the fifth time, addressing the very important issue. And also I would like to thank the expert panel from international arenas who kindly joined us, and also thank you, dear colleagues, for staying till the end. This afternoon's session is going to be on the international expertise. I am Dr. Mohammed Yusuf Banias, Vice Chancellor of UAE University of Emirates College for Advanced Education. Previously worked at UAE University as Provost and Dean of Medical School, and my background is in medicine and health, but also teaching for 22 years and doing research in education, including medical education. We have experts here from different parts of the world, and they will mention their experience and the country's experience in different areas of education. As you know, education is important for sustainability and for development of the countries and for building manpower. Education is the whole system, is not limited to just one aspect. It deals with teacher preparation, it deals with the building system, policies, training teachers in specific areas, doing research, integrating technology. So we will hear from different countries in those areas. We have eminent guests with us. I will start by Professor Johor. Professor Johor is very well known in the field of education administration and program evaluation. He gained his PhD degree from US Minnesota, and he is currently Director of International Relationship at Korean Educational Development Institute, which is a government-supported research institute providing research engine for the government. He has been in charge of dealing with international agencies such as UNESCO, OECD, and as well as APEC, and he brings a wealth of experience in his own field, plus the research agenda of the center. And the Korea, as you know, they have tied the education to economic development, and through that they have addressed many issues, such as how to attract teachers, how to provide teacher education, how to develop teachers, and how to support that. So welcome, Dr. Johor. Then I will have with me Engineer Haif Benayan, who very proud of his presence here. Engineer Haif is Director and CEO of Queen Rania Teacher Academy, which is again an important organization in Jordan involved in teacher development and training of teachers. And he has a very interesting background. He is an engineer, and he gained his master's degree from engineering in Birmingham, but also master in executive leadership from INSEAD. And he has background in private as well as government institution. So he will bring a wealth of experience in how to integrate ICT, and he has been secretary for the ministry as well. So welcome, Engineer Haif Benayan. Then we have with us Dr. Mohammed al-Zughaib, who's interesting background, and he is a scientist, science educator, and has tremendous in developing science education in Saudi Arabia. He is currently the Director and CEO of Tatweer, which is similar to Mubadala that we have here, is a government institute, but doing research in a business way and providing service in a business way. Now, Dr. Zughaibi, he has vast experience at working with the government in the Ministry of Education, such as being Secretariat for Developmental Council, conducting research in various fields. He has been also a referee for research for other colleagues. His graduate degrees include PhD from Leeds University, which I've heard right now from Dr. Zughaib that he has a model of Tatali, that for science education they study at the College of Science, then they have master's degree in education. So welcome, Dr. Zaghaibi, with a wealth of experience. And then finally, we have Dr. Tony McLevy, who will present to you the distillate of the educational reform in the United Kingdom. And UK has been through a lot of development in the past 10 or 20 years, the past couple of decades. And he's an Oxford graduate and background in education, educational leadership, educational reform. And he will present some new model that when we had discussion just before the start of this session, he said this is similar to your own field of health and medicine, that the teaching and education should be school-based for teachers because it's from the practice and from hands-on that they will learn. So he will present the reform in the United Kingdom. So I will start by inviting Professor Johor for the 15 minutes of presentation, and then other presenters, and finally we have the discussion session. Please welcome Professor Johor.
Well, good afternoon. First, I'd like to thank the Emirates Center for Strategic Studies and Research for inviting Korean Educational Development Institute to its very 5th annual education conference. I would also like to congratulate ECSSR for its excellent work. I was very surprised to have a matching partner in UAE, as Korean Educational Development Institute is a research institute funded by the government only for education. Don't even step on teachers. Don't even step on your teacher's shadow. It's an old Korean phrase that we emphasize in showing the respect for the teachers. As you can see, the ways, the pictures of ways in which we teach our students and children changed over the past 50, 40 years. But the quality of education cannot exceed the quality of teachers. This phrase did not change over the past 50 or 60 years. And I found that very, very interesting because Korea and UAE share a very similar culture. This is a result from OECD TALIS report, and you can see that this shows that the society value of how we view the teachers. You can see Abu Dhabi, UAE, and Korea is right next to each other in valuing teachers. In my presentation today, I'm going to talk about how we develop teachers in Korea in terms of teacher training, teacher appraiser, includes evaluation of teacher training institutes, and how do we attract good teachers or teaching forces to the teaching profession. Some general facts about Korean education. You can see that from elementary grade 1 to middle school, that will be 9 years in total, will be mandatory education by law. And most of it might look similar to UAE's education system. Another general fact, because this is a rate of completing high school in 2011. You can see by age that we have more completion rate as the age is younger. This is the same with the higher education. You can see that the brown is for 25 and 34 age, and the triangle at the very bottom is 55 and 64. This reflects the development of Korean education. As you may know, Korea experienced Korean War. Even before that, Japanese colonial period. So in the past 40, 50 years, we have achieved education development in the success. And the two graphs that I showed you reflects that, because if you go, if the elder society has less education than the younger generation these days. Some of the general facts of Korean education continued. You can see the education finance, the budget of year is about 5 to 6% of the GNP Korea, and the government budget, out of 100 government budget, about 17.6% or 16.6% was the education budget. And of course, the primary resource goes to primary and secondary education. Some numbers again, you can see that we were quite successful in dropping the number of students in one classroom over the past decade. We are still trying to improve this because this is a national average, you'll see, and you'll see a much more bigger size class in Seoul cities, like the big cities like Seoul and Busan in Korea. Some general facts again. Interesting number here is that we have enrollment rate of 98.8% compared to 64% in 1945. So we were, as I said, we have dramatically increased enrollment rate and the quality of education over the past 50 years. Middle school and high school numbers, interesting trend that you can see compared to elementary, middle, and high. I would like to emphasize the number in public, national, and private schools. You can see that number is changed in the opposite direction as you go up the school ladder. So if you go to high school, there are more private schools compared to the elementary school level. That's because when Korea was developing, we did not have much resource, and we invited the private sector to establish private schools. So, teachers in Korea, the main subject of my presentation. Well, teachers have the same role as many of the teachers in all of the world have preparation, instruction, testing, grading, everything, and of course, they are always overloaded with work. Becoming a teacher in Korea, if you want to become a teacher in Korea, you have to get admission from a university or a college because that's the only place that provides teacher training. Students of top 5 high school graduates get admission in general. 5% of the graduates, top 5% of the graduates get admission at these colleges and universities. National average in getting admission is 20 to 1. In the Seoul metro area, it will be 40 to 1. So it's extremely difficult, actually, to get admission to a teacher training college or a university. They provide courses, of course, for teachers, educational theories and practices, and I'll talk about this more specific in later. So these are the forms that we have in teacher training universities and colleges. You can see that there's National University of Elementary Education. You can see universities, public and private, they all provide teacher training courses. And of course, there are junior colleges, which only provides early childhood education training. This is the number for primary education. You can see that there's 12 in total, or 13, I'm sorry, 13 in total colleges and universities that provide elementary, primary education training. So there's Korea National University of Education, Ewha Women's University, which is the only private institute that provides primary education certificate. That number over there is the actual number of admission quota and the graduate number of each colleges and universities. This is at the secondary level. You can see there's about 400 colleges and universities that provide a secondary teacher certificate. So there's a lot of opportunities. If a student wants to become a teacher, there's a lot of opportunities for the individual to get admission to these universities. You can see that most of them, as I said, most of them are private sector. So about 160 and 136 at the graduate level are private schools. These are the curriculums in general, of course. I can't show you all the specific information about what they learn in these universities and colleges, but you can see that we have enhanced some of the programs. Compared to 2008 and from 2009, you can see that we are asking for about 50 credit hours in subject content knowledge and instructional methodology. And of course, we have education foundation. What educational psychology, for example, will be a course in that. Professional training, and of course, practicum is also included there. So we ask about 72 credit hours related to education in the university courses, and of course, a GPA average about B minus, I think, is 75 points. So a B minus average in their whole career, college and university education to acquire a teaching certificate. A bit more specific about the curriculum, you can see that educational theory, of course, we emphasize that because as a teaching profession, you have to, it's not only about content knowledge, it's about how you care, how you provide guidance for the students, of course. And education ability, of course, is also in there. And of course, practice is about 4 credit hours. So 22 academic credit hours, of course, included as education theory and practice. So as I said, you become a teacher once you get into a university or a college that provides these programs. As I said, at least about 72 credit hours. This is different by schools and programs, but minimum of 72 credit hours of education theories and practices. And also, this individual needs a bachelor's degree from the university to get a certificate for teaching. So that means about 50 to 60 credit hours. So that adds up to about 140 or 50 credit hours in total to receive a teaching certificate in Korea. Once you receive a teaching certificate, that means you graduate from these colleges and universities, you have to compete in an open competition test, licensure test. So after graduating from a school, that does not mean that you can teach. You have to have a licensure. The certificate after your graduation means that you can take this test. So this is administered by the Metro and Provincial Office of Educations. There are 17 of them, and also the Korean Institute for Curriculum and Evaluation. It is extremely difficult, actually, to pass this test. It is a very highly competitive process. As you can see, we have 2 steps of the test. First is the essay writing supply test type test. And we also conduct an interview with the ones who pass this first essay writing and supply type test. So after you pass this licensure test, you are, of course, appointed to a school and become an actual teacher. You start as a grade 2 teacher, not a grade elementary or secondary grade, but a grade 2 in a licensure and a certificate level, grade 2 teacher. In about 3 years of work experience, 180 hours of qualification and professional development, you get promoted as a grade 1 teacher. Once you get a grade 1 teacher, you can become a vice principal and principal track. Also, these days, you can become a supervisor or, of course, a master teacher, staying in the classroom. As I said, it's a minimum requirement for 3 years, but in practice, it takes about 10 years. So most of the principals and vice principals, supervisors, master teachers in Korea are very well established and experienced teachers. My next part is going to talk about teacher quality. So how in Korea we, after this extensive or a lot of work in teacher preparation, how do we manage to keep this teaching profession up to date? This is my favorite person, Philip Hallinger, and he talks about this teacher quality and accountability in terms of the real opportunity exists with current teachers and providing them with sound professional learning opportunities. So it is not about how we prepare them as becoming a teacher, but it's about how do we sustain their professionalism after they become a teacher. So, and also it counterparts with the global theme accountability, because we ask for so much things to do for the teachers, we sometimes forget what do we provide for them. Again, some statistics from the OECD TALIS result. This is a general number that teachers who receive a formal appraisal can see that Korea, we always provide appraisal and evaluation for the teachers, which is the good for them. And also, you can see Abu Dhabi, UAE, is quite high in providing a formal appraisal. So why do we do teacher appraisal? Objective, of course, is to provide consultation and feedback for their development and their professionalism. Targets all the teachers, principals, vice principals, of course, whoever is inside the school system. And you can, of course, have a look, and you can see that we try to have teachers an open class observation interview, of course, and then we also include students and parents into this appraisal so that we could have a wide view of how teachers are doing in the classroom to meet the teachers, students' needs, as well as the parents and the community's need. We have 3 different forms of teacher appraisal. In 1964, that was the first time that we implemented the teacher evaluation system. That was for personal administration, which means for promotion, teacher promotion. But in 2001, we added another aspect to it, which was a performance-based incentive system. We wanted teachers to perform better, and we gave them incentives based on their performance. A third aspect, which is quite new, which piloted in 2005 and implemented in 2010, which is a program for teacher professional development solely. So the purpose of it is to provide feedback for them in their own development. So this is, by the way, we carry on all 3 aspects of teacher appraisal system up to date. The first is for teacher performance, and more specific. You can see that, as I said, we use this results as a promotion, as a transfer, for example, and we talk about qualities and attitudes about this individual who is evaluated. We also we have the items for work performance, which is academic instruction, student guidance, and you can see that it's a summative evaluation conducted annually. This is another one for incentives, and it is to actually boost, as I said, boost teachers' morale and distribute incentives. We talked about teaching profession in our previous session, that we might boost their professionalism by the values or the views that we respect. But in my personal view, it is about how do we treat them. Because we have so many different jobs now in the IT area, for example, we're losing a lot of good talents. In Korea in particular, for example, a lot of youngsters are wanting or hoping to get a job in the business sector, in the IT area, rather than going into the teaching profession. So how do we hold them? It's providing incentives. Good salaries, of course, will be a good way to compete with other professional jobs that we have these days. Finally, the last one is for professional development. I want to emphasize this because it's about providing what teachers need in their classrooms. So it's used as the assist professional development in Korea. So based on these results, we actually tailor professional development courses for a group of teachers who need certain areas. For example, some of the teachers might be outdated in content knowledge. Some of the teachers might not be sufficient in ICT, using technology in their classroom. So we tailor those courses, professional development courses, based on these results. And these all evaluation appraisals are done annually, so that the teachers don't miss their opportunities for their own development. Some of the specific contents that we talk about in those evaluations, you can see we talk about instruction, of course, those many different or very specific ones as well. I'll just go ahead. Student guidance, of course, as I shared in my beginning, Koreans say don't even step on your teacher's shadow, because historically and culturally, teachers are not the ones who just provide content knowledge. They're the ones who provide how we live, or how do we have to live, or what do we want to become, for instance, for students. So guidance is a huge part in Korean education and for the teacher's job description. Another piece that we emphasize is evaluation of the teacher training institutions, because we believe that if the teacher training institutions are up to a standard, the resource spent in that initial training can be spent in professional development. Of course, Korea does not have the luxury of a resource as UAE has, but we try to invest smartly. So this is a way that we can improve the initial teachers who comes into the classroom in their first year. And you can see from 1998, we have evaluated teacher training institutes, colleges and universities. And you can see that we evaluate all the aspects of the program, from curriculum, from budgeting, planning, and everything. Professors there, we even evaluate who's teaching the prospective teachers in the future. Facilities, of course, class management, everything. Every aspect of the programs are evaluated. Some of the specifics in the evaluation process, of course, is you can see we emphasize everything, if not all. And these are some of the continued ones. Last part, I want to talk about stability and attracting teaching good profession. We highly emphasize teacher welfare. I'm not aware of the UAE's teacher welfare, but we have a very good pension plan, for example. We try to value their work by providing good welfare. So as teachers in Korea has a status of civil servant, which means that they cannot be fired until 62. Huge stability in these days where people are losing their jobs like a minute. And we also provide the same for the private teachers, because private school teachers, because we want the same accountability, same quality, public and private schools. Most important part that I want to emphasize is that teacher salary part. Korea has about 55,000 USD average on teacher salary over the career. And you can see that teachers in Korea has more payments as they go up the years. So beginning salary may be small, but if you work 10 years, 15 years, 30 years, your salary goes way, way up. One of the reasons is because we want to retain and sustain the good teachers. We believe that training a new teacher is much more expensive than retaining an experienced or established teacher. So our salary system is based on seniority based, which means that you get more as you work more. My last part is about some of the challenges that we face in the 21st century or globally. The first is the need for 21st century skills. These days in Korea, we emphasize about the 21st century skills, and Korea is well known for its academic achievement, and teachers were very effective in delivering the content knowledge for the students. But these days, the side effect, because we're experiencing the side effects of the academic achievement, like school violence, for example, we want to emphasize on students' well-being, students' character education. So instead of teaching the formula in the mathematics course, we want them to know the logics of it, for example. So we're training the teachers actually to teach the students with these different knowledges and skills that the students need in the classrooms or after their graduation in life. Some of the results that I talked about, very high in the PISA scores, but very low in their motivation to learn. So these are student numbers, student results, but these has to be reflected in teacher training, teacher professional development, and quite frankly, it is quite of a reform period in Korea for teacher training, teacher professional development, so that we can have these incorporated in those programs for the future. Some of the challenges that we face is migration and student mobility. We are facing a lot more diversity in Korea, and we're trying to have our teachers ready for that. You can see that the number of multicultural family backgrounds are increasing dramatically over the years, and we're trying to have the teachers ready to deal with the differences, deal with the diversity inside the classrooms so that we can learn from all each other. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Johor, for this wonderful, comprehensive presentation. Thank you. Now, Engineer Aif Benayan will present Jordanian experience through the Queen Rania Teachers Academy. Please welcome Engineer Aif Benayan. For a slide, Professor Johor mentioned about teacher preparation, teacher appraisal and assessment, professional development for teachers, keeping and sustaining teachers, plus giving a lot of data on the Korean expenditure and achievements. Excellent presentation. We hope we learn from Korean experience.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon. I'm very honored to be here, invited by the Education Center for Strategic, Emirates Center for Strategic Research. It's a real pleasure to be here and to be able to present what we're trying to do in Jordan. Of course, in 15 minutes, it's very hard to summarize everything that we try to do, so I'm going to try to just build a system around put the basics of what we try to do, and then we'll be open for questions. To start with, I'd like to maybe start with a quote by Her Majesty, that good teachers teach, but great teachers. Because with this energy that Her Majesty launched the Queen Rania Teacher Academy back in 2009 in partnership with Columbia Teachers College, with a vision that every educator has the skills recognition and support to excel. So, why is this important? Why is this important, and especially why is this important for Jordan? In Jordan, a country like Jordan that is highly dependent on its human resources, I don't think we have a choice, because there are studies and research that are showing that the efficacy and effectiveness of teachers is actually directly related to the potential income and growth of potential income of the students in the future. And there are studies that only even good students and teachers and not excellent teachers can actually increase the annual income of students by around $10,000. And therefore, for a country like Jordan, I don't think there is a way out. And I think around the world, this is very much the way to go. The second thing is that in country like ours, sometimes resources are very hard to find, and often we find that teachers or students or even parents complain that the school isn't big enough, doesn't have the resources enough. In a study conducted in 2011 by Dr. Douglas Lemov, who launched the book Teach Like a Champion, he actually observed the performance of students and compared it with the students' performance in relation to their poverty rate. And as expected, of course, the highest concentration of high performance was with the students who came from more affluent communities. However, if you notice at the little circles we have at the top, there are a few schools that had students that were really performing very well in very poor areas. And this has prompted him to conduct a research, to go and visit these schools and to observe what's going on. And he noticed that it was all about the teacher. And those teachers had special techniques that they have deployed in the classroom that helped them commission interest of the students, focus on students that have issues with understanding, and manage the classroom in a better way. And for that, and after that, he launched his book, Teach Like a Champion, that has 49 teachers' techniques that can be used in the classroom. Trends in teacher preparation, as our colleague from Korea just mentioned, teachers have to have a college degree. And in the advanced countries, they are expected to have pre-service training and for certification, possibly to be followed by induction training once they join their organization that they're teaching in, and then to be supported by ongoing professional development. And none of this can actually be done in place unless there are the right policies, governmental policies that are put in place to support teachers' professional development. In many countries in the Arab world, and I know Jordan is definitely one of them, we don't have pre-service training as a must. We have certification and often being compensated for by induction training, but we don't, we as Queen Rani Teacher Academy, we don't believe that this is enough. And therefore we've structured our core operations around three main pillars. One is our role as a national institution and the role that we can play with governments to support policy development, policies that are related to the development of teachers. The second one is the in-service professional development, and of course we're also working towards pre-service. And the final one is documentation and dissemination. So when we talk the professional development component, when we designed our training programs in partnership with Columbia, we had certain elements that were our guidelines that were focused on creating effective professional development. I won't bore you and go into all of them, but to start with, our programs have to focus on the development of the students. So it has to have impact on the student and not only changing the behavior of the teacher. The form of the activity, the duration of the activity with which through which the teacher is receiving the training, establishing communities of practice within the school. Relevance of the training, and that's why we focused our training on the content and the subject matter of the teacher, active learning, coherence, and so on. So with this in mind, we have launched our flagship programs, which we call the Schools Network, that focus on improving teachers' competencies in their own domains, in math, science, English writing, Arabic reading and writing, and leadership. Now, these programs are each 3 years long. We launched them in areas of Jordan. We take 20 schools at the same time, and we take all the teachers in a particular subject in that area. Now, the main purpose here is of the duration. As you've noticed, during those 3 years, they receive a number of courses, workshops, seminars, meetings inside the schools. They get support inside the schools and follow up by the trainers. They work, the schools share and learn experiences. There's a lot of value from the school-to-school learning. And of course, there's a value in having all the teachers of math or science within the schools working together and supporting each other through a community of practice within the school. And there's also, we've noticed that there's also a spillover effect. So in a school that we've trained the math teachers, we've noticed that other teachers are coming to them and saying, okay, give us some of the general pedagogies that you're applying so that we can also use them in our subjects. Then we started thinking of diversification of our programs, and here we've contacted our friend Douglas Lemov, and we wanted to bring his book, Teach Like a Champion, to the Arab world, and we translated it and we called it Allam Bithiqa. and we're training. We have training programs to train teachers on a number of these techniques. We don't think teachers need to be trained on all the 49 techniques. Just a few techniques will do, and then the book is supposed to serve as a manual or as a management book for the teacher in the classroom. We also believe as a national institution that we have to devise programs that are relevant to the country, to our country and to our needs. As a country, as Jordan has issues with power, energy, poor resources of water, we felt we launched this program in partnership with USAID. That helps create awareness at the students' level of their role in the society to preserve energy and water. And this is done through a training program for the math, science, and social studies teachers, where they start implementing interdisciplinary learning using the theme of environment throughout their education. Also, as a national institution, as you are aware, political scene and political climate changes, and always education should always be the first in the forefront to support the country in dealing with any challenges. And as many of you know, that many of our brothers and sisters from Syria have come to Jordan, and Jordan had to absorb many of the students. This has created a lot of pressure in some of the schools, and many of the students had also issues, and teachers were somehow overwhelmed in how to manage this situation. So we launched Education in Emergencies program in partnership with UNESCO and USAID, and we've trained over 6,000 teachers on this program. The program has two main components. One component is very much focused on classroom management, deploying techniques similar to the ones in Allim Bithiqa, techniques that help them deliver the information in classrooms that are congested with students. And there's also an element of psychosocial for the teacher to be able to observe if there are students who are suffering or having some psychosocial issues, to be able to deal with those and support them. A challenge that we're dealing with is scaling up. We fund our own operations, we raise funds, and we do not charge the government for our operations. So funding is a challenge, and we're always looking for different ways of scaling up. So part of our scaling up strategies is to also deliver our training not only through the Networks program, but also to deliver training through conferences that we hold once a year, state-of-the-art seminars, which are monthly lectures that we conduct on monthly basis, and short-term courses that we conduct during the winter and the summer breaks for teachers. What's worthwhile mentioning here is that the short-term courses are conducted during the holidays of the teachers. They're not mandated, they're not forced by anybody to come, and they choose to come to our courses. This to us is a very important indication of them seeing the value and them wanting to improve their skills. Another way of expanding our reach, Her Majesty a while back launched the first Arabic massive online open course called Idrak. It's Arabic enabled, and we were among the first organizations to jump on the opportunity to put some of our courses on it. So we put part of Teach Like a Champion. As you know, MOOCs are free for everybody. They tend to attract a lot of people to participate. So we had in our course 12,615 teachers who registered to attend this course. 1,185 completed. Maybe to some of you this may appear as low. However, the standard rate of completion of MOOCs is around 7%. So to us to have a 9.4%, this is a good indication, and it's giving us motivation to put more of our courses on this MOOC. Just out of interest, of course, those 12,000 were not all from Jordan. The 17% from Jordan, 14% Egypt, some from Morocco, Algeria, Palestine. There are about 37% who did not put where they come from, and 14% were scattered from different parts of the world. Also, we feel that private sector schools our services should be available for our private sector schools, and their needs are different, and that's why we conduct training programs for them that are very much based on their personal needs and interest. And from that, we also embarked on our partnership with the IB. We are a provider for IB training, and of course the IB training is not only for Jordanian teachers, it's also regional, so we have, it's actually global, so we have teachers coming in from all over the world to our workshops. But what is important and worthwhile mentioning is that we made sure that we conduct a lot of our workshops in Arabic to make this IB valuable training available for the non-English speaking teachers. We also, where it was possible, we also started, provided some of our services on a regional basis. With UNICEF, we did a teacher capacity development program in Oman. We delivered Alim Bithiqa in Kuwait, and we did our our networks program, math, science, Arabic, and English in Palestine when Her Majesty launched Madrasati Palestine. On the policy and strategy and research level, to start with, as an institution, we cannot conduct any of the work that we do if we don't have good, close ties with the Ministry of Education. And that's why we're very much on the table of discussion with the Ministry at all times. We're under technical committees, strategic committees, and everything is done in coordination with the Ministry. Some of the work that we've done, we've helped them design and develop their own induction program. We've worked with them on the national education standards, development of the national education standards. Our programs, we made sure that there's value for the teachers in attending our programs, not only educational value, but possibly monetary value. And as part of their system for promotion, we made sure that our programs get accredited by the Ministry, and now the teachers who complete these programs can actually progress in their work. And there are many others. Worthwhile mentioning also that we've conducted a case study based on teachers' policies in Jordan using the SABRE methodologies of the World Bank, and the results of this study will be launched next week in a national workshop in Jordan. On the regional level, we also we had the opportunity to have a regional role when it comes to policies when we were chosen by the World Bank and Alexo to take part in the Arabic Regional Agenda on improving education quality as an organization that's focused on teachers' policies. And through this, we were able to establish a database on teachers-related policies in the region. It's available on the Alexo website and on our website. We've conducted in-depth national assessment case studies on teachers in Tunisia. We've hosted a policy forum in Jordan. We've done a capacity building workshop on early childhood education in the 21st century, framework for teacher standards, framework for principals standards, and several others. We've also, where it was possible, we've also participated in a study in Libya on post-revolution, assessing the teacher development situational analysis. And we've done also situational analysis of basic educational curriculum. And we've conducted a Syria Crisis Education Response Curriculum program, which assessed the curriculum in the 5 hosting countries for the Syrians, funded by UNICEF. Last but not least, as we feel that as an organization, we are all about the teacher, and we really value the teacher, and it is very important to provide teachers from all over the Arab world with opportunities to speak together, share their experience, learn, and have opportunities to really develop. And with that, Her Majesty will be launching, it will be managed by Queen Rania Teacher Academy, but launched by Her Majesty, Teacher Skills Forum, Multaqa Maharat al-Muallimin. The purpose of this forum, the purpose of it, it's going to be a regional forum, not only for Jordan. It's going to be held on the 6th and 7th of December. Hopefully hosting some 700 to 1,000 teachers from all over the Arab world. We're launching it in partnership with the International Baccalaureate and Texas Instruments, who are providing the technical component. What is important is that this forum hopefully will be we will be doing this the first time, but hopefully we'll be able to do it once a year. Every year it will have a particular focus. This year we felt it's important to focus on math, science, and literacy, as there are major issues in Jordan and in the Arab world around this, and we feel that change will only come at the hands of teachers. And that's why we've selected our partners who can provide value added for the teachers in this case. Of course, in our partnership with the IB, there'll be many teachers, teachers themselves. There's a call for paper, and teachers themselves will be offering some of these workshops. And of course, we're hosting a number of speakers from Harvard, MIT, Columbia, and many others. And it's going to be, of course, a bilingual program. The focus of this conference is very simple, of this forum is very, very simple. If every teacher comes into this forum and gets inspired and learns one or two new things, we're not saying that we're going to change the world, just one or two things, and those teachers actually commit to create those, to implement those changes in their classroom, we're actually targeting reaching the students at the heart of the classroom. And this was a key focus for this forum. And I also have some brochures. If anybody is interested, I'll be happy to share some of those. The website for the forum is Teacher Skills Forum. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Engineer Benayan, for this wonderful presentation on the Queen Rania Teacher Academy. Now, in the next 15 minutes, we'll hear from Saudi Arabia, Dr. Mohammed Al-Zaghaibi. He will talk about Tatweer, which is a well-established joint venture between ministry and private, and how they can impact, or they have impacted, development of teachers. Please welcome Dr. Mohammed Al-Zaghaibi.
Thank you, the panel chair. It's an honor to be invited and participate in this conference. I would rather prefer to switch in Arabic, because most of the audience are Arabic speakers. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
In the name of God, the most passionate, the most merciful, I will focus on development of the teacher, developing the teacher during his service. I know that by now you feel tired because it was a long day, but let me start with a short story. There was
قصة فيها يعني لفتات جميلة. كان هناك
there was a person who was named David. He went on a trip to United States, to the state of Atlanta, and he wanted to meet some customers. He finished his work earlier, and he had 2 hours left to do something to entertain himself. So he went to one of the pubs, and he wanted to have a drink until he gets on board his flight. So he took the first drink. After he finished the first drink, a beautiful girl came to him and said, "It seems you're not from here." She said, "What about inviting you to another drink?" He welcomed the idea. She bought him the ink from the pub, and she sat with him. He took the first sip from the ink, and it was his last sip when he could still feel alive. After that, he woke up. He found himself he was feeling dizzy inside the hotel room, inside the bathroom, covered with ice, and he was shaking with cold, and on left of him he saw a mobile phone and a small paper with 4 words: call emergency now, 911. He took the phone and called emergency numbers. And it seemed that emergency number knew about such case, and he described what happened, and he told them he was inside a very cold place, and emergency operation room told him not to move. They asked him to touch his back and to look if there is something on his back, and he touched his back. He found a tube. He said, there is a tube. She told him, sorry sir, but you have been a victim of a mob that steals kidneys. So the question is engagement. Do we have engagement? Can teach? The bottom line is that everybody is looking at the speaker, everybody is looking and expecting something. But when will the teachers feel attracted to the curricula, something that they will not find inside the school? I will focus on development programs, and I will focus on the micro specifications. Those specifications that enabled us to have programs that incentivize the teachers to attend. But first of all, let me talk about some challenges that we face in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We have 5 million students, we have 500,000 teachers, and we have 34,000 schools. That's a big number of teachers. We have new curricula in science and maths and English language, in computer and Islamic studies from 1st grade to the 3rd grade. We have different levels of teachers who joined education. Some of them who teach maths, and they are not specialized in maths. Some of them were admitted to education, and the level of the education is not up to the level. The cost of the teachers when he quits, when he quits the school, that's very disruptive for the school, and the principal of the school would complain about it. We started analyzing different specialties. We were not. We tried to be focused, as the English say. The English saying, if you say many things, you say nothing. So we tried to focus on the teacher. We made sure that it is a development and not a training, but different types of professional development. Some of them, for example, allow the teachers to design a teaching program that would be available on the screen for the teachers. We gave the teachers some video lectures on how they can design that. We had also established learning by participation and observation. learn to notice and notice to learn. We taught the teachers how to observe and how to meet with others and discuss with them what happens inside the development programs. We face some challenges in understanding what learning means. If I go to Google and I put sciences, you will find more than 7 million on sciences essay. Those are the parents who try to find ready-made essays for their children. So some of the ideas that we have applied that we call the productive struggle, the productive failure. Failure is your way to learn. You can fail once and twice until you succeed. We help the teachers so that they can improve themselves, and the same way we teach the teachers, and the teachers teaches the students, and the teachers would get involved when he feels that the student needs help. We knew that we were making some mistakes at the beginning. We were very motivated and we wanted to achieve a lot quickly, and the teachers could attend 1 or 2 programs in 1 month. So we put a lot of pressure on the teachers, and at the end there would be no teachers in schools. So our program would sometimes conflict with the mission of teachers. Now we are calm, we are convinced that improving the teaching is a long journey and will not happen overnight. We know that there must be a goal. The teacher should have a goal and should be linked to the school system, the comprehensive school system. The teacher would go outside to learn from the development program. This is a program that we need. We have some of the challenges that we need to deal with to convey the knowledge inside the classroom. Our colleague from Jordan had raised an important point: the effect of learning on students. If we develop learning, if we develop some of the tools to help the teachers to make sure that the effect of learning has reached them or not. And since teachers do not have the same experience and expertise, so for example in maths, we have the preliminary and then the medium and then the advanced level. None of the teachers can move from one level to the other before he passes the exam, and he is certified by LED Excel organization, which is a British organization that would recognize that he passed that program. So the teacher can start with the first program and then move to the second one. And this will allow teachers to assess their capabilities. We did not stop there. We still face a problem, which is the expertise of teachers. The teachers inside the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia meet between themselves. Now we try to send 25,000 teachers abroad. 25,000 teachers. We send them overseas to learn in universities, and that requires a huge budget. You know, as in the research, the question sometimes is not about the teacher, but it's about teaching. Teaching is a culture, but how to convey that culture, and you need to interact with other teachers, and then develop your teaching methods. And all the development programs follow an approach. Some of it is before the face-to-face programs, and each program would have a platform where teachers would enroll and start learning either online or face-to-face. And the connectivity in Saudi Arabia allows the e-learning. We established a partnership with international organizations, and we have partnership with other countries. We try to follow the TOT system. They train Saudi teachers. The Saudi teachers learn from foreign teachers through 4 stages. First, the foreign teachers would be teaching, and our teachers would be observing. In the second phase, our teachers would be helping the foreign teacher. The third phase, they would be teaching, and the foreign teacher would be observing. The fourth stage, they would be teaching us. I hope you would have benefited from these points, and I took them from the development program. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Mohammed Zoghaibi. You defined the concept and some details. Now we would call Dr. Tony McElevey.
The involvement of schools or a school-based education and training. Dr. Levy, please welcome.
Assalamu alaikum. It's a very great privilege to be here at this important conference, and I'm going to say a few words about teacher development in the UK. I'm not making a political point, but I was relieved with the outcome of the vote last week. It still is a UK that I can talk about, but actually I'm going to mostly focus on England, which is the larger part of the UK. A quick word about CFBT. I am the Research and Development Director for this organisation. We're an international not-for-profit organisation. We're based in the UK, but we work all over the world on school development and teacher development. We also do a lot of work in the UK for different government agencies there. And I'm very proud of the fact that we've had the privilege of working in the Gulf region and in the UAE for many years, and the head office for our work in the Middle East is actually here in Abu Dhabi. The UK, a little bit of context. There is no ministry for school education across the whole of the UK. We have 4 different autonomous ministries, one in each UK country: England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. I'm going to focus on England. It's the largest jurisdiction. It has about 85% of the population, and it's quite a large system, 21,000 government schools. My comments on what's been happening in England recently are organised around 5 key factors, maybe 5 key levers that are important in determining the quality of teaching and, of course, thereby the quality of learning, the outcomes. So these things, I think, really matter and provide a framework for thinking about teacher development, and I'm going to use that for my comments on the story in England. The quality of teacher supply. It's so important that we persuade great young people, talented, idealistic people to become teachers. The quality of pre-service training. the quality of the work we give them before they become teachers. The quality of the school leadership, and I like this American phrase that you'll be familiar with, instructional leadership, leadership that focuses on getting the best out of teachers. The quality of the professional development, the in-service training, and finally a theme that has cropped up a couple of times today, the nature of accountability, the accountability mechanisms that we have. Okay, so what's been happening in England over the last 15, 20 years? Well, a big change actually in the quality of teacher supply, an improvement. And I think now we've got a situation, many problems still, but a situation where generally it's true to say that teachers in England are well qualified, and teaching in government schools is a career of choice for many able graduates. One statistic, 10% of final year undergraduates from Oxford and Cambridge universities apply to become government school teachers. Now, I went to Oxford University and I left many, many, many years ago in the 1970s, and I decided to become a government school teacher. And my friends thought I was mad. They thought this was crazy. They were all trying to get jobs with top accountancy firms, with the BBC, with the civil service. Government school teaching was not considered attractive, and this has changed, and this is really exciting, I think, and gives us maybe some optimism. So why? Well, many reasons, but here are three reasons. The money helps, so teachers are quite well paid in England. There are bonus payments to attract teachers in the science, technology, mathematics subjects. Two, as in Korea, there's a pathway, there's a career possibility, and there are good prospects in salary terms. And there are management grades in UK schools, in English schools, that are well paid. And there's a big difference between the salaries of the principals and the entry grade teachers. So ambitious teachers can aspire to be school leaders. Principals, for example, are paid 3 to 4 times as much as entry grade teachers. And then a third P, publicity. The government's been very successful at an advertising campaign over many years through all the media to persuade talented graduates to choose teaching as a career. In terms of pre-service training, there's been some big changes recently, and the big focus is on the schools, the best schools, as the centres for initial teacher training. We were talking before the conference, the session started about this, and this has been taken in substantial measure from medicine and from professional development in healthcare. So we now have in England 600 teaching schools, and they're modelled, if you like, on teaching hospitals. The word teaching refers not to the instruction of children, it refers to the professional development of new teachers and in-service provision. Big emphasis on the quality of classroom performance as a key measure of your ability to be licensed, with strong systems to develop the new teachers, the trainee teachers in schools, followed by a pretty good one-year induction program so that your license is provisional and you must then get your full status once you've proven yourself in the classroom after 1 year. I said that I thought that leadership was important, and I think there have been some good developments in instructional leadership in England. So we have school leaders who know that central to their job is the need to be making a difference to teachers, monitoring the work of teachers through lesson observation, work scrutiny, data analysis, being prepared to support but also to challenge teachers if their performance is not good enough. We talk about having these brave conversations, courageous conversations. It's difficult, but this is an important part of the work of the principal in England. And finally, putting in place good systems so that the teachers are really well supported when it comes to behaviour management, assessment for learning, that it's systematic so that the teacher is enabled to do their job well. Continuing professional development is important, and I think the big move has been away from traditional off-site courses, going outside the school to receive some training. That still happens, but that's not good enough, and it's a weak model for changing professional practice. A new emphasis on professional learning in the school, school-based expert coaching, using the best existing practitioners as the mentors, and also collaborative professional development. We talk about moving beyond sharing good practice, which is a good idea, towards joint practice development, actually working together to solve pedagogical problems together, joint practice development. As I've said, I think accountability is important. It's cropped up several times today. England was next to Korea on the slide that talked about the significance of performance management for the teachers. This is taken very seriously. It's reinforced also by the national inspection system carried out by the agency Ofsted, which gives a very robust, challenging view of teaching quality. And it puts teaching quality at the top of the list when making judgments about schools. And schools are very keen to achieve the Ofsted grade of outstanding, which is only possible if the teaching quality is particularly good. There are also high-stake tests at 11 and 16. These are also taken seriously. So I think collectively you've got some well-rewarded teachers who are increasingly well-supported in professional development, but they're also challenged, they're held to account, with substantial pressure from parents who get the inspection reports, who know about the tests. So some interesting developments. I'm not saying it's perfect at all. Lots of debate about what next. Here are some of the current debates. Maybe the move, if you like, towards the schools. Maybe it's gone too far. Have we got the balance right in terms of the relationship between the university and the teaching school? That's a current debate. I think right, as in medicine, you have the best physician who is the consultant, who is in clinical practice, but is also teaching others. We have now the same model in English schools. And I think this is really exciting, but it's also difficult because you've got your own school, your base school to look after, and your parents, and then you're going to somebody else's school maybe to make it better. So there are some challenges getting the best school leaders, the best teachers to work with other schools. And then finally, tough accountability, for example, through inspection. I think it's important, but there can be a downside. So sometimes people say that the inspection is too harsh, that it demotivates teachers, and maybe it restricts innovation, because teachers are afraid that they may be behaving in a way that maybe the inspector disapproves. So we're debating these things. I'd like to say a couple of words about an interesting case study. My organization, CFBT, we're a not-for-profit organization. We produce educational research, and we've just published a report about London. Now, the government schools of London, it's a big system. London has a population of 8 million people. And I think something amazing has happened just now in the London government schools. And I think it's all to do with teaching quality. And basically, since 2000, the government schools in London have gone from being the worst in England to the best. And when you look, as we've looked in our research, at the inspection data, you see a very clear pattern in terms of the inspectors saying that the teaching quality was way below the national averages at the start of the millennium, and now it's above. And we have a key measure that we use. It's the standardized tests that the 16-year-olds take. It's called the GCSE. If I show you the pattern, it's a little bit complicated. London is divided into two regions, inner London and outer London. And inner London has a great concentration of poor students, many rich people, but many poor students as well. And these are all the blank bars here, these are the different regions of England with the standardized test. And this is 2001. And you'll see that the black bar at the end there, that's inner London, okay, the worst performing region in England in 2001. The middle bar, that's the whole of London, because London is made up of inner London and outer London, so that's the average. And then you'll see the green bar, that's the English average, and the yellow bar is outer London. So back in 2001, outer London was doing okay, inner London, terrible, the worst in England. And now it's completely changed. Inner London has raced up and overtaken every other region in England except for outer London. So at the top here we now have inner London, London average, outer London. So what we've been doing in our research is trying to find out how come the government schools of inner London were the worst and now they're the best. It's to do with the quality of teaching, and we've been looking at inspection judgments that show that over the period of 12, 13 years, using the inspection data, the quality of the teaching quality has made a massive 21-point swing compared to the rest of England. What caused this transformation? We looked at different factors. Could you explain it away in terms of, if you like, external factors? Not the schools, not the teachers, something changing in London. So we looked at the changing socio-economic profile of London. Because, you know, London, it's a complicated place, lots of different people moving around. And we concluded that, you could not explain it. There was no correlation between changing socio-economic patterns and the improvement. We also looked at questions of ethnicity because, again, maybe you know London, it's a complicated place. It's a very multicultural place, lots of different people, different backgrounds. And again, we concluded, no, this didn't explain it. In fact, the improved outcomes characterize all the major ethnic groups in London. All of them have made a significant improvement. So what's changed, we concluded, was the effectiveness of the schools and teaching quality. And it seemed that the teachers had benefited from some specific interventions. So we looked at some particular reforms. So something called London Challenge, a reform project whereby the underperforming schools were given lots and lots of professional development support. But the providers of the support were the people, the teachers and the school leaders from the best schools in London. And I think this made a massive difference, twinning underperforming schools with highly effective schools and highly effective teachers and school leaders. Secondly, there was an organizational challenge. So if schools were persistently underperforming, they were removed from the local school district control and they were handed over to new operators. Okay, so that there was also a level of challenge at the level of the organization, and a message to the local school districts that unless they performed, things would happen. There would be consequences. That this was serious. This is also very controversial, but let me move on. And then thirdly, a very interesting program called Teach First, which targeted the recruitment of exceptionally academically able students into teaching and into the most difficult schools in London. It's now gone national. Initially, it was for London only. Exceptionally able graduates persuaded to teach in the worst performing schools in London. Very similar to Teach for America, Teach for All. You maybe be familiar with this as a concept. And this mix, together with the other factors that I've been talking about, seems to have made a big difference. And in our report, we talk about what we call a theory of change, an approach to teacher development that seemed to embody the London reforms. A no excuses approach to the underachievement of disadvantaged students, a preoccupation with data, so school leaders, instructional leadership, looking all the time at the numbers and thinking, what does that mean? And then having a conversation, a professional conversation about the data. Lots of great support, but also challenge and accountability, so robust performance management, but also a focus on building pedagogical capacity, building leadership, and doing that using some powerful forms of professional learning, particularly inputs from expert practitioners. And to conclude, we talked to the teachers themselves who confirmed, many of them had lived through the story, that the schools had been transformed by this new high expectations culture, by performance management, by this emphasis on literacy, and by this particularly effective approach to professional development. I'm really excited about the London story because it's such an optimistic story. So I think if we can learn something from that, then maybe other parts of England can make similar progress. So that's a conversation that's happening just now in England. And I think maybe it confirms that this focus on these 5 key levers maybe is of some value when framing the debate about teaching quality. If you're interested in any of our research or and the London story in particular, it's available on our website, and that's me. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tony McLevy. We had this afternoon 4 interesting presentations. To summarize in 1 minute, the first presentation was from Dr. Johor, and described the whole Korean experience of teacher preparation, teacher licensing, evaluating colleges that prepare teachers, plus professional development and other elements, and linking the education to sustainability and economic development. Then we had a second presentation by Engineer Benayan from Jordan, a wonderful experience of the Queen Rania Academic Center, or Teacher Preparation Academy, how they do participate in research and setting policies, how do they do professional development that is focused on math, science, Arabic, English, and leadership, and link it to school needs, and how they do online teaching and IDRAK program, and also documentation. Then we had another wonderful presentation from Saudi Arabia, the Tatweer experience, and Dr. Zughaib explained what is the objective behind it, how to engage in Tatweer, how to make it relevant, how to make it subject specific in a very developing manner, starting with level 1 and higher levels. And how to get the train-to-training experience, learning from international experience and bring it back to Saudi Arabia. And then finally we had the UK reform, or Landa reform, from our colleague Dr. Tony from CFBT that we are quite familiar with, and how different elements actually contributed to the change in London schools, some of the low-performing schools. And he mentioned different factors, but one important factor was professional development. The other important factor was accountability and checking the quality, and those who are good survive. And it was, of course, compensation for teachers, the position of teachers in the society, and conducting research and data. So now, I know we are delayed, but the floor is open for discussion, questions, comments from colleagues. Please welcome. Yes, go ahead. Right.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. دكتور غازي أديب مصطفى, وزارة التربية والتعليم.
I am Dr. Ghazi from Jordan. My question is for Engineer Mohammed Banyan, Executive Director of Queen Ania Teachers Academy. If you allow me, I will put my question in Arabic. I expected you to deliver your speech in Arabic because you come from an Arab country and most of the speakers are Arabs. But I'm going to talk as one who's been a part of the network of those schools. I had seen that during the last that the training lasted 3 years. They follow the latest technologies for teaching teachers how to teach science. And they have a partnership with the Columbia University for teaching teachers. But the effectiveness of any training will be showcased in the classroom. Was there any studies from the academy to measure the effectiveness on those programs, on the learning of the students?
Wonderful project that they do in conjunction with Columbia, teaching the network of science, math. And the question is, what was the studies to conclude that there was impact on students and teachers' learning? You can respond in Arabic as per request of our colleague.
أكيد. شكرا على السؤال, وإحنا مبسوطين إنه في معنا.
Thank you for your question. Thank you for your question, and we are glad that you are here with us. We had a preliminary study, but now we are conducting a study in partnership with Columbia University, and hopefully we'll get the outcome by December. The first, we had it divided into 3 groups. We launched cohorts. The first group has been for building up the experience, and then we found out we have enough experience then. So we had pre and post assessment. We have documented the performance of the teachers before he takes the course and after he takes the course, and currently we are evaluating the results. And since you are one of those who attended those workshops, I am sure there is a difference between the levels of the teacher. Same applies for the students. We have lots of teachers, and there was big effects. Some of the teachers did not attend. I am Mustafa Mahmoud Khalil. I am I'm a teacher from Abu Dhabi Education Council. I cannot thank you enough for organizing this conference. I just have a suggestion, the timing of the conference. If you make it more convenient for teachers, as you know, teachers, they have work to do, and if you were to organize this conference from 5 to 10 p.m., you will have lots of teachers attending here. Or, for example, at a time when there is no school, or like the last week of any educational season, we will have lots of teachers who would attend and would exchange experiences, because this kind of conferences targets teachers in the first place. You know, this is all about teachers, but if the teachers are absent, that would be useless. Thank you very much for your suggestion, and we will pass that on to the General Director. I am Qasim Shinaf from College of Education, United Arab Emirates University.
You add something interesting to us, but I have two main issues. The first one related to the Queen Rania, Education Center, and I wanna to be sure, like College of Educations in Jordan are involved in this process, not just get experts from outside. It's good to build this kind of networking from nationals and international body of faculty members who are supposed to be involved in this project. The other point related to the, induction period. This part of training or of teachers' preparation is missing from most of the Arab teacher educational programs. We assume when a teacher graduated from College of Education or any other colleges with diploma certificate, he's qualified to go and teach and survive forever. Actually, this is not true, especially when we hire them for the first year and give them heavy load. We need to give them like part-time load, have mentoring, training during the school in order to keep them on this profession for a long period of time. So maybe we can take a recommendation to make it part of teacher training program, the induction period, and thank you.
There are 2 points, and I will invite the panelists to comment if they wish. One was on the importance of networking and sharing the experience of Jordan and Korea. And the second one was on the importance of induction for new teachers. So probably Dr. Zuraib and Tony could speak, please. Yes, we can.
Well, thank you. In fact, my institute is very interested in collaborating with the UAE institutes, such as the Emirates Center for Strategic Studies and Research. We're very interested in working together, finding collaborative research projects together. So I'll be happy to discuss the right personnel.
أنا مش متأكد إذا أنا فهمت السؤال صح. أنا زي اللي فهمت السؤال كان إنه هل في تعاون مع جامعات في بناء البرامج؟ هل هذا كان سؤالك ولا هل في؟
I am not sure if I understood your question. Are you talking about us
مركز الملكة رانيا مع أعضاء التدريس
with the Queen Anya Academy? Is there a direct partnership or do you rely on foreign experts? We do not rely on foreign experts at all. The programs are established in partnership with Columbia University. We are not importing those programs. We establish those programs based on our local needs in collaboration between local experts in Jordan and Columbia University, and the teaching is in Arabic language. Nevertheless, we have lots of coordination with the University of Columbia. There is, especially for the pre-service training. So we try to work with Jordanian universities in this area, so we may have the practical aspect while they will have the theoretical aspect. But so far we attach lots of importance to collaboration with Jordanian universities.
If I understood the question correctly,
regarding induction, we have a program for the new teachers. We have thousands of new teachers who join in every year. In the educational system, 3 weeks before the school starts, all teachers are supposed to come to school, and they will have an intensive program for the new teachers, and lots of it would involve productive training, and would be about school books and laws and regulations, and also pedagogy. The pedagogy would last based on the basic approach, and the teacher would be learning on a regular basis, and he will have to generate a specific program. He would work with other teachers. He would be teaching, and other teachers would be watching him, and they will evaluate his work. We have 600 supervisors at the level of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Those supervisors supervise the work of the new teachers. This program is not 100% successful because there is some discrepancy between the teachers, and we have some teachers who are good in the subject, but the pedagogy is not that good, and so we still focus on the pedagogy.
Only to say quickly, I think the international case for an induction year is compelling. In England, we have an induction year with a reduced workload for the teachers, and the license to teach is provisional, so that you need then to prove at a higher level your fitness to teach, and it seems to work.
Just two final comments because we are running out of time. Yes.
I am Jibril Mohammed.
You mentioned about, you discounted the relationship between ethnicity and the increased level in London in terms of the GCSE results there. Were one of the ethnic groups white, male students? Because it's been found that the group who has the lowest English language ability are white, native English, working class students. Thank you.
You're right to say that there are big issues about white working class boys. I can show you in the report afterwards if you like. What we showed was that the improvement journey was shared by all the major ethnic groups. Actually, the groups that historically have performed the best are the children from a Chinese heritage and some of the other Asian countries. And they have traditionally outperformed white children and Afro-Caribbean children in England. Actually, that gap has narrowed in London over the last 10, 15 years. So it's an interesting story. There still remain some big issues about white working class boys in some parts of England.
Assalamu alaikum. Asma Arib.
I am Asma Arib. I am educational supervisor or counselor, educational counselor. Thank you very much for this conference. It was very interesting. I have noticed that in the morning you were talking about the challenges of this job in United Arab Emirates, but in the afternoon the speakers talked about lots of means and I can say systems, different educational systems in the developed world. So I would like to have a sort of a connection between what was said in the morning and what was said in the afternoon. To what extent can the educational team, if I can call it like that, those who are active in the educational field in the United Arab Emirates can take what is good, what is convenient with the national and Islamic identity in the United Arab Emirates. How can they exploit all those outputs of your presentations so that they can improve education in the UAE? My second question is all the elements in the educational process are there, but those concerned are not here. Those teachers, those trained teachers. This is not a criticism, but this is a desire that and the hope that in the future we would have students who would talk and tell us the challenges. We would have a teacher, student who would say, is it the salary that does not encourage them to choose to become teacher, or is it the curricula? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Those were very good remarks. Definitely, we have to learn from the experiences of from other countries. Your second remark is to invite teachers and students to this conference.
Engaging the teachers and the students in these conferences and also learning from experience of the others. We have to end, but there is one final comment from Mahra. I will allow her to say just in 1 second.
بالنسبة لدعوة المعلمين قدم باكر إن شاء الله.
Regarding the invitation of teachers, tomorrow we'll have the Undersecretary from the Ministry of Education. They will have some teachers with them in Abu Dhabi, and there will be some discussions about the issues that concern the teachers.
This wonderful announcement of tomorrow's. So you are encouraging everyone to stay and people to join. At the end, I would like to thank first the Emirates Center for Research and Strategic Studies for arranging this wonderful conference for the 5th time and bringing every time new topics and new and interesting agenda. Also, I would like to thank the speakers for this afternoon sessions, Dr. Johor, Engineer Bnayan, Dr. Zogheb, Tony McLevy, and most importantly, thank the audience for staying to the last moment. The lunch is waiting, and you have been wonderful audience. شكرا لحضوركم ولانتظاركم للحظة الأخيرة ونراكم غدا إن شاء الله. Thank you very much.